lovely people in my computer. Welcome to my living room again. Let me turn off this music here. Although it's so much fun. Let's see if I can do this without dropping everything. There you are. You can see my board now. If anybody's in there watching. Doesn't seem like it right now though, which is okay. There we have it. Let me put on my background music. Ah, there it is. Let me see if I can get myself into the frame without breaking everything. Or dropping anything. Hello, my lovely people. Not my. Hello, lovely people in my computer. 41225. It's just amazing to me to think that we are in the year 2025. It's just wild. That's pretty bright. I'm going to turn it off for a minute because it's right in my face. There we are. Hello, lovely people in my computer. Welcome to Durante's House of Music. I am Tom Durante, the maestro here at Durante's House of Music, your guide to all things musical. From piano or harpsichord repair today, to music theory, music production, live performance, and many things in between. I hope we're having a great Saturday. I had a little tuning up in Tarpon Springs, which was about an hour and a half away north of here. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It was a lovely brand new Steinway piano, Model O, a little grand. They call it a miniature, but if you had to move it, I don't think there would be anything miniature about it. So today, as I told you, I will be tuning my harpsichord. I'll tell you a little bit about it. You can see back here, I don't know if you can read it, but it's a little sign that my dad made. It says DMTS, Durante's Music Technical Services. That's my piano and other keyboard instrument repairs. And as it is Saturday, I'm wearing my DMTS polo shirt that I usually wear when I go and work on an instrument. So you're getting the benefit of seeing me as I would be if I showed up to your house to fix your harpsichord. And don't laugh at that because you're like, haha, who has a harpsichord? Well, I actually I've had multiple harpsichord clients. I have a couple regular ones, just a couple, but I've had many throughout the years, including not the least of which, the Sarasota Orchestra. So that's pretty cool. I have to go back and do a little bit of work on their harpsichord. The leads were expanding. They use lead weights in a lot of keyboard instruments, including pianos, and I guess as they oxidize, they expand, and they were rubbing, and it was causing a huge malfunction, and they had a performance that they needed the harpsichord for. Let me grab my phone. Thanks for waiting. And let's do a little daily music history. Musical, historical events, so to speak. So today, and I updated my time. What is it? Time zone. Thank you. Brain working. I need a power nap today or a second coffee. Saturday, April 12th, 2025. Oh, thanks for clarifying your time zone. You're welcome, Grok. Today is Saturday, April 12th, 2025, and you're in Eastern Standard Time, where it's currently 7:09 p.m. Since it's still ongoing, no major musical events for today have been widely reported yet. Below are 5 notable historical musical events that occurred on April 12th across various years, leaning into your interest in classics where possible. Now, it did give me 5, but they were not classics, so I said anything in classical music history. Just 1 or 2 would be nice, so there's 7 for today. My apologies for the oversight. It's so polite. Since today is Saturday, April 12th, 2025, and you're in Eastern Standard Time, currently 7:09, here are 2 notable historical classical musical events that occurred in April 12th in past years, focusing specifically on your interest in classics. Now, I'm realizing my music is looping into something that I didn't want it to loop into. It's not looping, it's the problem. It did not loop. But this is a good song, it's just I want some calm, chill background music, not trumpet etude vibes. There you go. Just hollow, empty musical sounds. Redo that. There we go. Now I can actually see my mixer and my sound. Could I get that bigger? I bet you I could. Or not. That's cool. Anyway, let's jump into our music history events. Today, in 1877, Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, of whom I've stood in front of his grave in St. Petersburg, his ballet Swan Lake was in rehearsal stages around April 12th, ahead of its eventual premiere later that year, though exact rehearsal dates are approximate. Okay, that's slightly interesting. Commissioned by the Bolshoi Theater, which also I was there, in Moscow, this iconic work, with its lush score and tragic love story, struggled initially, but became a cornerstone of classical ballet, showcasing Tchaikovsky's romantic genius. 1924, Gabriel Fauré Piano Trio in D minor, Opus 120, was performed on April 12th in Paris, shortly after its completion, when he was 79. This late-career chamber work, premiered by the Société Nationale de Musique, blended delicate lyricism with understated complexity. I don't know how you understate complexity, but hey, it did it. Reflecting Fauré's refined contribution to French classical music before his death later that year. 1940. Billie Holiday recorded Strange Fruit on April 12th with the Café Society Band in New York City. This haunting protest song, written as a poem by Abel Meeropol, addressed racial lynching with stark imagery. Initially controversial, it became a defining anthem for the civil rights movement and a cornerstone of jazz history. 1966. Jan Berry of Jan and Dean crashed his Corvette into a parked truck on April 12th in Los Angeles, suffering severe brain damage that ended his performing career. Known for surf hits like Surf City, the duo's accident marked a tragic pause in their influence on 60s pop, though Berry later made a partial recovery. 1975. David Bowie began recording his Young Americans album on April 12th at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia. Oh, my younger viewers are going to enjoy that. Sigma Sound. Hello to Tom Durante in the chat. Eastern Daylight Time. That's what I thought. Anyway. Sigma Sound. My younger viewers are going to love that because they all like to refer to things as Sigma. That's so Sigma. Apparently Sigma is a alpha, but better and not as overt. Anyway, look it up. So, David Bowie recorded Young Americans at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia, embracing soul and funk. Tracks like Fame, later a #1 hit, showed Bowie's chameleon-like shift from glam rock, reshaping his career and influencing pop's crossover trends. 1989, what a great year it was. For me and my family, that's the year I was born. Gareth Brooks, I almost called him Gareth Brooks. Garth Brooks signed with Capitol Records on April 12th, a pivotal step towards becoming a country music titan. His debut album, released later that year, included hits like If Tomorrow Never Comes, blending traditional country with pop appeal and setting the stage for his 90s dominance. 2003. The White Stripes album Elephant hit #6 on the Billboard 200 on April 12th, driven by the raw anthem Seven Nation Army. Jack and Meg White's minimalist garage rock revival redefined indie music, with the song's iconic bass-like riff becoming a global cultural staple. And it can be heard throughout classrooms and guitar stores nationwide, worldwide, I would say even. Bum, 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 bum. I actually did that with some of my students back in the day at IMG, and that was a classic. They loved it. All right. These events span jazz, pop, soul, country, and rock. Plenty of classic vibes for your stream. If a big event emerges later today in 2025, it could be worth mentioning. Want any more details of these? No thanks, Grok. We got a harpsichord to tune, and a string to fix if I have the correct string. So let's reorient some things. Let's open her up. I'm going to try and put the microphone where you can hear the harpsichord, and maybe me talking too. I don't know. I'll have to crank up the gain. We're going to open her up. Would you take a look at that? So as you can see, I have a lid prop stick that is not attached like it is in a piano. It's just something that I can remove. Now, this harpsichord holds a very special significance in my life. And I'll tell you why. So there was a gentleman by the name of Robert Brooke. He didn't put his name on it, but this instrument was his very first instrument. I believe it was a kit. I want to say a Zuckerman kit, if that is correct. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. But this was a kit that he purchased, I want to say somewhere around 1977, he told me. He has since passed, and he is very much missed. He was a harpsichord builder here in town, and he built his every other harpsichord other than this one he built from scratch. He was famous for some very high quality, I think they were Italian instruments, Italian modeled after classic instruments from the Baroque era, and he was just an expert at building them. And so this was his very first instrument. So I'm sure there were things that he was not very proud of, but basically he purchased, The idea of the kit was you purchase the outer wood of the harpsichord, the case wood, basically all of this stuff. And he chose cherry wood. It's a beautiful instrument. I love it. And so everything else, I don't know, maybe the soundboard you also had to purchase, but everything else came pre-cut. You were given strings, you were given all the tuning pins, you were given the jacks and all that. So I'm going to remove this rail here so we can really see it in all its glory. Okay, this is a jack stop rail. So in a piano, you have hammers that strike the string. In a harpsichord, let's take one out. You have these, which are jacks. Ooh, and this one is still an original leather jack. Some of them, the bottom rail is. So you can see here, maybe if I put it in front of the camera, you could see it. That light is just very bright. Let's turn that down. There you go. So this is a harpsichord jack. If my camera wants to focus on it. Let's turn this light off for a second and see what we get. Much better. So you can see this. This is the internal mechanism. I hope it likes to focus on this. So you have an end here that screws in and out to adjust the length of the jack. You have this, which is the plectrum. Okay, this is made of leather. This is a thick, wedge cut out of leather. And there are some felt parts. This is a damper. As it comes across, striking the string rings and then sits, and this felt will rest on the string, and basically the jack kind of hangs from that, silencing the string. So if we can play a note, you hear it ring, or maybe you don't because my mic is up here. And you actually hear the sound of the jack coming back down. You'll hear this, that little click of the jack being triggered, re-triggered. You can see it moving. So it moves, goes around the string, and then when it comes back, it actually stays rigid when it plucks the string, and on the return, it goes around the string, and then the string hangs on the damper here. Alright, so I actually have a broken string in here. What I brought along with me is my harpsichord repair tools, okay? And so this is what I'm going to be using today to tune it. This is a T tuning lever. It has like a star end. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's got many different points so that it can fit on these pins at a different angle, because as you tune them, they go around in a different angle. So I'm just going to set that on a pin down at the end there. Now, this is what I'm looking for. Depending on the type of harpsichord, you have a need for boar bristle. These are actual hairs off of a boar, and so they're very coarse. You can see how thick these are. These are used in a traditional way in some harpsichords. This one, I don't believe so. Let's take a look at that jack again. And try not to spill that all over the inside. It appears that is a metal wire, but that's essentially the material in traditional harpsichords. If I come up to an older antique instrument, I'm going to need this to create a spring that will facilitate the movement of that plectrum, tongue. Okay, so that's what that is. I'm more concerned about this wire and whether or not it is long enough for me to replace the broken string. Because where it broke, it looks like it's pretty long. There are two considerations here. Is it long enough? And is it the correct diameter? It appears to be Hopefully long enough. I don't know. We're going to try that out. Is this 2 lengths of wire? This is. It's a different wire. Okay. Let us see. Let's hook this on the end. Ooh, we might get lucky. I don't know if it's the right diameter or not. It appears to be pretty thin. Just eyeballing it. Yeah, it looks a lot thinner. Dang. That won't work. That will not work. Now, if I wanted to be very particular about this, and if I was doing this in a customer's home, as opposed to just my own personal harpsichord, I'd be measuring this string to make sure that it was the exact diameter that I needed. Otherwise, if you remember correctly from last week's piano tuning, which should still be in a perfect well temperament, we could go over and play it if it was, not harpsichord day. But if you remember correctly from that video, there are 3 components of any pitch. Well, that's certainly not long enough. Man, I think I'm just going to have a harpsichord without that string, and that's unfortunate. Now, the other idea that I had was it broke right down here at the end at the loop. And if you remember one of my videos, I don't know if you can see that or not, at the loop. So at the very end. So if I'm very lucky, there's some wire here coiled around this tuning pin. If I'm very lucky, I can uncoil some of this wire and actually just reuse this string. I think I might be able to. I may only get 1 chance at this, so I gotta make sure I do it properly the first time. I don't want to uncoil all of it, but anyway. So if I'm very careful and I do it 100% perfectly the first time, I gotta go get my string. Do I need to go get my string and tools, or do I have everything I need right here in my harpsichord repair box? I think I'm gonna sit down. Let's see. That's better. A couple of years ago, somebody asked me to make a music desk and a bench for their harpsichord. Either they were damaged or they didn't have them. They just received the harpsichord, from somewhere without actually getting those. Let's see. That is. Okay, so this is called a zither tuning fork. Or not tuning fork, tuning lever. So some of the older harpsichords have just a single flat, it's almost like the opposite of a flathead screwdriver. Right, so like some of these would just be flat, and this is the only thing that would fit on them. But it also comes with a little loop on the end. So I'm going to attempt to make a single loop. I need to cut this. What do I have in my box of goodies? Boom. Ooh, I got wire cutters. Are they gonna work? Are they gonna work? Let's see. Remember, when you're cutting wire, as much as possible, you want to control both ends of the wire. That is not working. It's not even lined up. That sucks. Let me go get some nice wire nippers. Unless I have something else in here. Ooh, okay, this is a tool that I made that serves the same purpose as that. Just to make a little loop. I'll leave that out. Let's see, do I have any other wire cutters in here? Now, I could really just like work it around, but I want to cut it almost pretty much right at the end so that I have plenty to work with. Allow me one moment to go grab some proper wire cutters. All right. Let's see what we got here. Where's my wire? Ah, so much better. All right. This is not going to be easy, but we're going to attempt it. I'm going to hope that it holds. So I'm just going to loop it around. I'm going to try and use as little as possible. And we're just going to loop it around, and actually you can just spin this. You gotta be careful because this is very fine wire and it will break. So there's an open spot on the end of this, and there it is. It's a beautiful little hook or hoop on the end. So I'm going to pray that I have just enough slack in this wire to get around to the end of there. Let's see, let's make the trip down to the end. Oh man, this is gonna be close. You might want to come in and see this. Let's see if I can bring you in on this. I don't know how much you can see, but this is like a crazy amount of wire, just kind of like woo 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 woo. And we're gonna just turn it up, and we're gonna pray that it doesn't break again. If it does, I will have a harpsichord with a missing string. And there's nothing I can do about it right now. I gotta order some string material. Alright, there it goes. Make sure we get it on the right side of that. Oh, this is nerve-wracking. Okay, we have a string. I don't know if you can hear that. I guess you probably couldn't. Yes, I did it. I was able to reuse the old string. That's incredible. Alright, so now we get to begin to tune this instrument. I'm just going to use my regular phone here. I have a second phone. I save all my old phones because they're still useful. But I have my second phone because when I'm tuning a harpsichord, or when I'm tuning anything, I prefer not to be disturbed by phone calls and text messages and whatnot. Lately, it's just my security cameras telling me that the wind is blowing. So we're going to start a new tuning. Do I leave it at 440? I'm going to try and leave it at 440 right now. we are going to do a well temperament. We're going to do a very early temperament. Let's see what the earliest one that I have. 1691. That's the winner so far. I don't want to go too early. 1691. Yep. That's one that I wanted to do. The Werkmeister. If I remember correctly, I did the Kernberger 3, 1779 on my piano over there. So we're going to do a Werkmeister 3. I don't know what the 3 means. From 1691. So this is a temperament that is that old. Alright, so we're pretty close to on pitch anyway. Remember, I told you the harpsichord goes out of tune, just like a guitar would, okay? I guess you want to hear that instead of me. Let's see. So what else can I say? So I'm going to go through... yes, I want to describe what you are looking at here. So what you see over here, come on over here. What you see is 2 sets of strings. Let me get something to point with. There you go. So hopefully you can see this. There is a string here, and then there's another string down here on the inside. I'm trying to move it a little bit. It looks like it's way out of tune. Anyway, so there's a string down here, there's a string up here. 2 different planes of strings. You can see the jacks are higher, these jacks are higher, these jacks are lower. And you might be able to even see that there's a tuning pin down here and a tuning pin up here. So this harpsichord, it is a single manual, which means that there is one keyboard, okay? Manual refers to a keyboard. Okay, so a manual refers to a keyboard, and these are called choirs of strings, if I'm remembering my terminology correctly. I only work on harpsichords once in a blue moon, because who has a harpsichord other than me? I have 2. Actually, I have 3. I have a miniature one that I could bust out. I may bust that out before the end of this stream. So these are choirs of strings. Okay. Now, the harpsichord was around when the organ was a primary instrument. You know, church organ, that sort of thing. And so the organ is, there are stops. And so it is an air-driven instrument. There are stops that you can pull out or push in to activate or deactivate certain groups. I'm over here I'm in the wrong place. I don't know where my camera's looking. So there are stops that you can pull out to activate or push in to deactivate certain pipes. Okay? And so the pipes are measured in lengths. And interestingly enough, I believe they're measured in feet. Although organs are European. This requires further research. But they're measured in feet as far as I understand. Maybe they just translate it for us Americans. But the harpsichord took that terminology. So this length of string, if you can see all the way down there, I don't know how to manipulate my camera from over here. Okay, there you go. So this length of string going all the way back there is approximately, the longest one is approximately 4 feet long. Okay? Now, although it is 4 feet long, I have to keep remembering that you need to hear what I'm hearing, not just me talking. So, although it is 4 feet long, it is called the 8-foot length of string. And this other course underneath it, although it is 2 feet long, it is called the 4-foot course of string. Now, some harpsichords have a 1-foot length of string that is called the 2-foot. Okay, these terms come from the organ world. So that's how they name the strings, the length of strings, the choirs, so to speak. So there are multiple choirs of strings. Some harpsichords do have multiple manuals. They're called double manuals, maybe triple manuals. I know organs have like 3 or 4 manuals worth of keys. And so what you can think of, if you're not a harpsichord player or if this is completely new to you, what you can think of is basically this is like a piano cut in half and layered on top of itself, right? So I can activate with these levers over here. This is one. You can see these are moving. I think I have this one deactivated because I don't need them. And I actually turn that one off. So I can turn these on and off to activate or deactivate those levels of choirs of strings. Some harpsichords have 2 sets of keys, 2 manuals, so that I can have different voices, different choirs on the different levels. And so it just creates more intricate, creative possibilities for performance. And also I have a little stop here, a lever that I can pull that does kind of mutes it. You can't hear that. Okay, I'm forgetting what the name of that is called right now, but it mutes it. Let's begin tuning, because it won't take me very long, because there's only 1 string per note. I'm just turning off my background music so like you can hear the harpsichord itself. As you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot of movement to turn those pins. I don't know if you can hear me, hopefully you can, but if you're watching my hand here, it doesn't take a whole lot of movement to move these strings. So I don't particularly like the way that sounded. And it appears that this is adjusted very far back. So I'm going to grab my tiny screwdriver, a little ASMR for you as I dig in my bag. Is that right? That's not the right one. That's not even the right type of screwdriver. Where are my tools? Will that work? I think it will. Let's give it a shot. So there's a screw right here, and if I unscrew it, that's not the right kind of screwdriver. I mean, it is, it's just not big enough. Let's look in here. Will that fit? Ooh, no it won't. It's a little bit big. You have to carry a bunch of different screwdrivers because you never know what's going to be able to fit into where it needs to fit into. Is that the one I just used? Yes. Yes, it is. Come on, man. Aha. This will work. Thin enough to fit in there, but not. Oh, it's not turning very well, but hopefully that's all I need. Just a little turn. Alright, my damper. Get that right. The dampers. This harpsichord could use a little TLC. Oops. I'm going to leave the screwdriver right here. Don't let me forget it. Okay, there we have it. And you can hear it's plucking much nicer now. So what that is called, when I adjust how a note works, it's called voicing. Voicing the harpsichord. Voicing a piano is similar. It adjusts how the string sounds. realized there was one person I neglected to send a link to. My harpsichord playing friend up in Boston. Mr. Huang. A former student of mine who's up there living his best Baroque life. And that could have many meanings, because he is a Baroque college student as well. Ah, ah, ah. I know he's seen me do this before, but I just figured he might get a kick out of watching me do it, and maybe he'll watch me play it when I'm done and comment on how I'm playing it with a piano technique instead of a harpsichord technique, because I am no expert. Oh, wait a minute, I needed that. Now I wonder if it'll keep playing. I put it on my YouTube. Low memory condition. Consider closing other apps. Well, I guess I will. Low memory. I've never had that pop up on there before, but I've also never been playing a YouTube video in the background. Contact microphone would probably work. I know I have one, but didn't think about it. I've definitely used them before on a piano, so I know it would work. Just a couple more. Right. That is all the time it took to do one choir of the strings. Maybe about a half an hour or so. And I didn't really have much to say. I could tell you how much I love harpsichords, how much... Oh, Peyton in the chat, how we doing? Fire! Was that to my little arpeggio? Ah, you can't hear it, I keep remembering. I don't keep remembering, I keep forgetting. Let's play some music. If I don't put this back, then my jacks will pop up and they may not fall back in time for me to play the next note. So what I was going to say was, oh no, my vacuum is about to start cleaning. I don't need that sound in the background. What I was going to say was, that's the time it took to tune one choir of the strings. Okay, if I had multiple choirs of strings, it would take that much longer. Sometimes I can just tune with the octaves based on that, but let me go turn off my vacuum. All right. So, like I said, I could tell you how much I love the harpsichord, which I do. How, since I have been playing piano and kind of got into my college years and discovered that I just really love Baroque era music. And the sound of the harpsichord is so intriguing and different than many other instruments that I've heard. And as soon as I had the chance, the opportunity to get one for free, 2 of them for free, I was like, wow, yes, I will. My first harpsichord that I got was from the school, Chicago School for Piano Technology. And they just had this harpsichord, and they were in the process of closing down. They were like, you like harpsichords, right? I was like, yes. They're like, how would you like to have one? I was like, I would flip out. And they said, well, go ahead and flip out and then take that home. Okay. So then I had a harpsichord to play with. It was so much fun. And then I met Robert when I came home from Chicago and began working with him. And a number of years later, he told me that his first instrument was available. I just had to drive to Washington, D.C. to get it. And it just so happened around that time I was working on a player piano that needed to be delivered to Tennessee. And so I had a van that I was renting, and I had a need, or I had a reason to go driving across the country, and so I was already going to Tennessee, so I figured let me go to DC and pick up this beauty. And I thought that I could move it myself, but it was more than I could handle by myself, and luckily the building that it was in, there was a doorman who was kind enough to assist me. Otherwise, it may not be sitting here right now. So anyway, let's play some music. Let me put this microphone where you can hear the music and not me. I'm going to play that oldest song that I found on IMSLP back in the day, the Orchestrophe from 1589. Now, it's customary the second time to do some kind of improvisation. So let me do it again with some improvising. Hopefully you hear the difference between an approximation, a digital harpsichord, and an actual harpsichord, which is much better, much more pleasing, because you can actually tailor the sound to what you need. You know, the harpsichord on my digital piano, there's only one option. It's just what it is. But this, I've only used one choir of the strings, and so it's got a delicate sound almost. The harpsichord is a very delicate instrument. It only has one volume level. Remember, unlike a piano, which the original name of the piano was a harpsichord that could play loud and soft, right? And giving it the name forte piano or piano forte. And then eventually, the first one was forte piano. And then as it developed, they called it the piano forte. And then they dropped the forte, and now we just have a piano. I think there are still manufacturers that refer to them as piano fortes, especially European brands that have been around for a long time. So I'm going to play some more Bach, or some Bach, for the first time today. And I'm going to do I'll go through it, and then I'm going to experiment with, I remember the name of it. It's called the Pied de Buff rail. And so that's what makes it sound muted. So I'm going to experiment with that a little bit. I think I started too low because I've got notes that are going to go lower than that, so I need to readjust. Love it. So beautiful. There we have it. Hopefully you're enjoying what you are hearing and seeing. It's a lovely... well temperament. So I'll play a little bit in some different keys, just so you can hear the different quality of each key. Right, so remember, in a well temperament, your keys that are favored are near the top of the circle of fifths, which is something we still have yet to talk about. But you've got C, G, F, and then D a little bit, B flat a little bit. And then other than that, as soon as you start going further than that, you get more heavily beating sounds. So a beat is when the two frequencies of two different notes create a third lower frequency. Okay, so the frequency of this note is 440 hertz. And a hertz is a measure of frequency, which is 440 vibrations in 1 second. Okay? And so if I play a note one octave lower than that, this is an A. So if I play the lower A, the frequency of that note is cut in half. And so it is 220 hertz. And if I go lower again, that one would be 110. And I have one more down there. Frequency of that note would be 55. And so I have one above it. If I go from 440, I'll go to 880. Now, the thing about the harpsichord that makes it sound so unique and so different than the piano is that on a harpsichord, your strings appear to be more higher or lower, right? So that 55 hertz A down there and the 880 hertz A up here, so the low one would be A1 on a piano. Not the lowest note on a piano, because the lowest note, remember we talked about last week, the lowest note on a piano is about 24 hertz, or 22 hertz, I think. And so that would be A0. So there is one lower than that on a piano, down there somewhere, way down there, right? And so this is a 5, the 881. So there are 2 more, A5, there are 3 more, A6, oh no, A7 I think is the top, C8 is the highest, so I was thinking 8. So there are 2 more above this. Okay. So the quality of the wire that we use, not like whether it's a good quality or bad quality, but the way that it produces its tone, as opposed to a steel wire in a piano. So the wires in this piano, in this harpsichord, are brass down at the bottom, and then they go to either an iron or a steel, but not a carbon steel, not a high carbon steel like in a piano. So I believe these are iron strings up here. And so the quality of, like the sound quality of that brass is very warm. You can use a red brass or a gold brass, and it has different sound qualities, tonal qualities. And then the iron has a different tone quality to it. And the characteristics of that sound, I'll say instead of quality, characteristics of that sound are that these high notes trying to play that E and it's not working. That's not good. This does need to be voiced, I noticed, and I would go through that, but I don't feel like getting into all that right now. I just want to play a little bit. So these higher pitched sounds appear to be even higher than they actually are, and these lower pitched sounds appear to be even lower than they actually are. In your ear, you perceive them that way. And so because of that, the relatively small range of this instrument is broadened, and also coupled with the fact, coupled because I'm coupling the jacks, coupled with that, you have a multiple choirs of strings that can play together to give you a more complex sound and sound wave. So this is why it is such an endearing instrument, so interesting to listen to. As you can hear, the smaller 4-foot length or 4-foot choir is much more out of tune, but it does function slightly. Alright, so before I go on to another piece, like I said, I'm going to go through a couple different keys so that you can hear them. I won't go around the other way. I was going from C to G to D to A to E to B to F sharp to C sharp. So I went around the sharp side of the circle of fifths. Now let's go around the flat side. me thinking there for a minute. I got to G flat, which I know is F sharp, and I was like, wait a minute, where do I go from there? And I go to B, which is C flat. But you can hear in the A flat and the D flat the beating. It's kind of a flutter in the sound. I'm going to experiment with adding another microphone. Give me just a moment. Can you hear me? I need my headphones on so I know whether you can hear me or not. It appears that you can, but I do have two microphones plugged in. Let's see. Are you getting sound from this microphone? No, you are not. How about now? Oh, that's weird. Oh, you're getting my voice in two places. Weird echoes going on in the Durante household. I don't know. You can hear that. It's not very loud. Let's turn that up and turn that down. I don't know if that's any better, but I don't have to keep moving that microphone. What do you think of that? Now I can talk. I don't know if that fixed anything, but at least I don't have to move that microphone again. Let's see. Make that louder. There you go. There's still a weird echo. We're just going to go with it, because I'm not doing a whole lot of talking. Maybe I'll start from the beginning. Maybe I'll put a pop filter. I don't know if that will help, but we'll try it. Lovely sounds. Ooh, we got two of them. Let's try it out. Get over here, you. Oh, how do you like that? How do you feel about that? Jeffrey Boyle, welcome to the chat. Who are you? I don't know if this is helping. Never mind. Jeffrey, I'm attempting... Was that Jeffrey from school? I don't know. So I'm attempting to not have to move my microphone. But since I'm still in the room with the microphone, I'm getting a lovely echo. Since I'm no longer talking into that microphone, let me try something here. Since I'm not talking into that microphone anymore, I don't need the pop filter. I'm going to put a shield between the two microphones to attempt to alleviate. It's not working very well. If I whisper, maybe it will work. How are we doing, lovely people? This is a bit of Haydn Piano Sonata. Oh, whoa. I love it. So lovely. Interesting. So interesting and beautiful. So the beginning of this starts off with a presto. Yeah. Let me read the correct clef. Sight reading is fun. And then it goes into the Andante. There's also a minuet after. I love these multi-movement pieces. Ooh, what is this? Original manuscript by Haydn. It's always nice to see some original manuscripts. I don't know how well you can see the handwriting here. There you go. Wow. Variazioni per cembalo del signor Giuseppe Haydn. Giuseppe. Remember, he was Joseph. I believe he was English, but he lived in Italy. So, El Signor Giuseppe Haydn. Look at that handwriting. Also known as calligraphy. Love it. Let's see what this is. See if I can make sense of it. We're in the key of E flat. Look at that bass clef. Can't even tell that it's a bass clef. Let's see what we got here. It's a little hard to read. Unless it is an alto clef, but oh, difference there. I don't know. I have no idea. I wouldn't imagine that they'd switch back and forth. Oh, look at that. Maybe it does. That is wild. I swear, if that's alto clef, that's gonna freak me out. Let's move to something more modern that I can read. I always love to play Mozart. You can play things on the harpsichord that were meant to be played on the piano and on the forte piano more specifically. Let's see, what is that? Okay. This is something I love to play. E doesn't want to work. Sometimes you run into range issues like that, where you run out of room for the range of the piano that you're playing on. I'm gonna try something here. Maybe if I put this, oh my god. Oh, that was loud. Maybe if I just put this over here by the harpsichord and pick it up when I need it, it won't have a weird echo. Oh wow, that's loud. Dang it. Now I have to be hyper aware. I think I could turn this down. Now that I'm not talking right into it like I am right now, I have to be hyper aware now. Maybe I'll put the mic in a different place, but it's right there. So when I hit this note, a little bit too forcefully, you hear it knocking on that wood. Maybe I do like it that loud. This is all an experiment, people. Every bit of it. I hope you're having fun. How long have we been at this? Okay, not too long. I'm going to do a little bit longer here. Let's see. Ooh. I love this. This is called Kleiner Trauer March in C minore. I don't know what that means, but I do know that the subtitle is March Funebre del Signor Maestro Contrapunto. Contrapunto. So this is the funeral march for the Signor Maestro of Counterpoint. Very interesting. Very lovely. What's this? Oh, that's what I just played, isn't it? So I ran into a little bit of range issues. I couldn't quite get all the notes up there, so I moved it down an octave. Let us see what we can play. So if I play anything... Ooh, Scarlatti. If I play anything... Like, let's just try this, for example. Did I never finish my 3 Gymnopédie? Anyway, if I play a Gymnopédie, which is from the early 20th century, it was not meant to be played on a harpsichord, no less a harpsichord in well temperament. Let's see what it sounds like. It was certainly interesting. Not bad, per se. Actually, I kind of liked it. This is your reminder that I am the Lord of the Strings, and also that your body is 80% water and you need to hydrate. And make sure you get your daily dose. Water should be free. Hopefully. Well, I mean, you do kind of have to pay for it. Here's an idea. really need to fix that. Whoa, that was louder than I thought. Gotta love some Beethoven. Definitely. Let's move this thing way down here. Let's see if I get weird echoes from down here. Maybe not. Maybe so. Who's to say? I don't know. Anyway, sounds a little bit better. I don't know. Like I said, we're all experimenting here. I did definitely run into some range issues there. But that is that. All right, let's try one more here. Let's see if this is it. Nope. Oh, yes. No, maybe. No, that's not it. There it is. Okay, this one I have not played in a long time, but I really like it, and I like some of the other movements, so I'm just going to power through it. Maybe one day I'll practice, and I'll get better, and you'll hear that, and that'll be lovely. That'll be nice. Let's all look forward to that day. Don't fall. Bass line. Page turning. Sorry about that. Let's go on. Well, I think that's about enough of that. Let's turn off this beautiful, bright, brilliant light. Let me turn off this beautiful, echoey microphone. Let me get that out of the way. Just let it fall. I said let it fall. Get out of the way. There you are. Let's come back over here to me. Let me cut this microphone off. And let's bring this microphone back. And we'll turn it up a bit. I won't worry about the pop filter because I won't be popping in the mic, hopefully. Well, also, one more thing. I got so much crap everywhere because I've just been frantic trying to get things everywhere, every way. I hope you had a lovely Saturday with me. We're just over 2 hours. That's not too bad. So on Saturdays, we typically don't pick a key of the day. That's our weekday tradition. A lovely rendition of Earthenia to call us out, to play us out. How long have I been muted? Let's try that again. I don't know how long I've been muted. I just muted myself because I've got my stream box down at the bottom there. Let's try that again. A nice little Earthenia to play us out. I don't know how much of this I have to redo, so I'm just going to redo as much of it as I can think of. I hope you have had fun this Saturday with me. We did not pick a key of the day because it's Saturday, and that is our weekly tradition. So, I hope you enjoyed watching me tune a harpsichord, fix a harpsichord string, out of desperation reusing the string that was already there, and thank the heavens that there was tuning pin wire, spare wire wrapped around the pin, so that I had a little bit extra to work with. Sometimes you have to be resourceful. That's what I was getting into when I noticed that my microphone was muted. So I wanted you to make sure to hear this, because you are enough. You have the power. You have the knowledge within you. You just have to know what resources you have available to you and what to use. Was fun. Thanks for sticking around, Dad. Hope you're enjoying this. Looks like it's just you and me watching. But you have to know that you are enough, and you have to know when you have things available to you and what to do with them. You know, you have the tools. It's not just about having the right tool for the job. It's about knowing how to use it. I've had a lot of people comment on, sometimes when I walk in the door, I don't know if a lot of people have said this, but I remember one person saying this for sure. When I walk in the door, he said, you know, I came to the piano and I immediately started doing my thing. And he goes, you can tell a good service person by what they do with their hands as soon as they get there. If they are unsure, then you know they should not be touching your stuff, whether it's an AC technician or a piano technician. And this chord here tells me it's time to wrap it up. So thank you all for joining me on this lovely Saturday Technician Day, if you will. Come back for more. Please like and subscribe. Thank you if you already have. Come back for more here at Durante's House of Music with me, Tom Durante, the maestro, where we always remind you to stay hydrated. We always encourage you to do your best. And we always encourage you to come back for more. Because, as I've said a couple times today, this is all an experiment. We are just trying this out. And you look forward to some more growth. And I hope you're there for this entire journey. Stick with us. We'll see you next time. My background music has ended, so it must be time to go. Have a great night.